Hello there, my name is John Meyer. Let's take a look at the new Spitfire Originals Wurlitzer. What I want to do is focus on whether or not you should upgrade from the free LABS Wurlitzer if you've already got it. Let's start by checking out the 4 basic sounds that it comes loaded with. I'm also going to play on here from time to time. This key bed requires a lot more pressure and this one doesn't, so you can really get that bite of the instrument easier. Now also, notice this fader right here is like a dynamic controller basically, but it keeps you from playing the lower velocities. So if I put this all the way up and barely play. So if I know that I want that aggressive Wurlitzer sound, I'll bring that up, maybe not all the way. If I want to take advantage of those low velocities, then I'll bring it all the way down. You'll notice, like the other originals, these controls will change depending on the preset up here. But you can also go in and adjust the tremolo, depth. But these settings are all actually on the interface, so that's nice. Let me pause one more time. If you're not a keyboardist, but you want to be, you might be confused over the Wurlitzer and the Rhodes. This is the Scarby Mark I, which is a Rhodes. It's part of the complete bundle. An amazing sound, but it's not a Wurlitzer. It's much more pure and round, and Wurlitzer's cut. Before we dig further deep into this, let's just jump over to Labs. This is what you get with the free Labs instrument. It's pretty amazing. We're going to start off with the super soft Wurli chorus. That's very soft. Same deal with the dynamics. The Labs are going to be limited in controls, but very specific sounds. Here's the DI. DI direct inject, a physical 1/4-inch instrument cable going out of the Wurlitzer into a recording device. And then we have Wurli chorus. It's got a little more edge to it, and then the DI. I'll hold off my thoughts in a minute, but that's really awesome. Now let's look at the originals. I've already talked about the dynamics control there and some of the effects. Let's look at this section. You have the direct, the DI. Which is nice and warm. If you hear a bunch of white noise, that's the rain. You have an amp, which is an Ampeg B15, which is a bass amp. Just has a nice character to it. And then you have the speaker. You know, a slightly different character. You know, this is not a terribly aggressive amp sound here, at least in the classic preset. But you can mix and match these. They're nice and in phase. So you have plenty of tonal shaping. When I switch presets and go to the Wurli Mellow, you can see that there are some adjustments here. We also have a pad, you can see, that's on this fader right here. If we just listen to the pad. Now, if I wanted to, I could slow that attack down, lengthen that release, make a true pad, and then I can bring the direct signal back up. Let's hop back to the classic and listen to the tremolo, because that is such an important part. I always set my depth all the way up and then adjust my rate. And then I bring my depth back. that's nice. Let's jump to funky. Notice that we have a new fader. Instead of pad, we've got drive. I was going to talk about this later in my comparison, but I'll get to it now. What I like about the original series, and as someone who is trying my best to develop my own instruments, how much control do I give you, the end user? How much control do they give us? Sometimes companies give so much that it is a little overwhelming, and sometimes not enough. Like, I would say the Labs instruments don't give you enough, but they're free, and that's kind of the point. It's a sound that inspires you and you go with it. But this sound, and with the originals, so much of the beauty of these instruments comes from the men and women who are tweaking every little parameter, every mic position, and then probably having meeting after meeting deciding on what exactly they want to give to us so that it keeps us going, it provides options for us, but it doesn't overwhelm us. They give us this funky sound with a heavy drive that we can turn on. Now, obviously, you can add drive yourself, and a lot of us will do that, but it is nice to have it in the instrument. It says, the keyboard processed via overdrive effects to create a crunchy and fuzzy sound. I hear it. Some of those notes jump out at you a bit, and keep in mind that this is a sampled instrument, and so the character of that instrument's going to come through. So some notes you may not love, but that's part of the sound of that instrument, and I like it that it's not completely even. And it does feel even throughout on the classic sounds, but when you get to these funky sounds, some of these notes kind of jump out. Part of the deal, and it's a good part. Now let's look at the stabs. I'm glad they included this. You don't have the control over the attack and release. They were sampled short notes, and it comes with drive. If you need a rhythmic part or an arpeggiated part, and you have control over the chorus. I mentioned in one of my previous videos how much I use chorus now, and I don't think I used it for probably 15 years. Distortion. High pass filter. I often like to use a Wurlitzer in the place of, say, a second electric guitar in a beefy rock mix. You pan one electric out to the left. Is this your left? And then to the right, you have the Wurlitzer. They fill the same frequency spectrum, but it has got to cut. Pure Rhodes wouldn't work in the situation I'm talking about right now, but a Wurlitzer, really heavily compressed, heavy distortion, and whether it's this sound or the classic sound run through a bunch of processing, a Wurlitzer is a great candidate to go along with your dense, heavy electric guitars. Now, before I quit, I'm going to jump over to the other Wurli that has always been my go-to, and it's in the Arturia collection. It sounds like this. I noticed right off the bat, if I compare this to, say, the classic, maybe not a fair comparison. I've got to dig into it a little more to get that bite, but this is a warmer sound to me compared to this. Not necessarily warmer. It's just a different sound. Obviously, Arturia is going for the, this is what it looks like, and it's really cool and interesting and inspiring. And you can do a lot with it. Oh, the chorus was on. It's kind of hard to see those. This has a ton of flexibility. This is running through different amps, and they change for each preset. Which is honestly quite cool. The only reason I have this is because it came with the bundle that I bought years ago, so I don't know if I would have sought this out on its own, and I can't even tell you what the prices are. You can go look. I just wanted to offer up one of the comparisons that's out there. Spitfire is an interesting company. They have their flagship string sounds that the top composers in the world are using. They're expensive. They tell you they're expensive, and they tell you why they're expensive. And then they have their kind of next level down. I would put the Olafur Arnalds collections, which I use all the time. They're specific sounds from specific artists maybe, and they have quite a bit of control, but they're not all things for everybody. They do a specific sound. Jump past originals, we go into labs. Labs, they do such a great job of telling the story of the instruments. They're not the most detailed. They don't give you a ton of control. Let's say you're starting out a track with Labs Super Soft Wurli Chorus. What that is inspiring. And if I start with that, then that is going to affect every other instrument choice that I make along the way. Every part that I choose to write is all going to be impacted by the sound that's coming out of the speakers with that instrument. I can't change it a ton. I can do some basic reverb and whatever. I can run it through my own processing after the fact, but that sound kind of gets me started. I would say the originals is a step up in that. And say I came along and this was 3 or 4 instruments down the line and I knew I wanted a Wurlitzer. Well, I have quite a few more options. And for $39, I believe is what the price is, I think personally that's worth it. It's all about your needs. I think that goes without saying. But the added flexibility and control that you get with this makes it a worthy upgrade over the Labs. But also don't forget about Piano Book. Piano Book has quite a few Wurlitzers. I haven't checked in a while. They're not all going to be amazing, but some very well might be, and some might offer crazy amounts of control. It's so interesting what's going on over in that community, and I'm proud to be a part of that community as well. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, go watch another review I made about the most inspiring sample library that I've ever played. Take care.